the beginning of our quadratic equations test review worksheet number 1. The first thing we're covering is vocabulary, and in this vocabulary section class you're going to take a look at the names or things inside of the boxes on the bottom and transfer those to the proper lines up on the top. So let's take a look at the first one. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. That is a vertex form quadratic, and if we look in our boxes, we've got a vertex form quadratic, so I'm going to put a line through that, and we're going to write here vertex form. Next one, you would use b squared minus 4ac. Well, that's part of the quadratic formula. We call that the discriminant. And so we can see here we've got discriminant in our boxes. Make sure you know the vocabulary, because these are not only important, easier points to get on the test, but also they'll help you later in the test. Like if you know this is a discriminant, then later if it asks you find the discriminant, you've got the equation for it right here. Okay, next one, I, which represents a square root of -1. If I look through our options here, I see I have imaginary number. We know that I represents an imaginary number. I'll just abbreviate that imaginary number. All right, next one, a vertical line that passes through the vertex. We've been asked this vocabulary question over and over on previous tests and quizzes. This would be the axis of symmetry, which I see right here. So axis of symmetry. I'm just going to go ahead and abbreviate that axis of symmetry. Okay, the maximum or minimum point on a parabola. We've learned this one many times before as well. If we take a look at our boxes, we've got the vertex. Remember, if the parabola is upside down or opening down, it's the maximum. If the parabola is opening up, it is the minimum. So that is called the vertex. Next one, where a parabola crosses the x or y axis. Now x or y axis, so wherever it crosses an axis in a coordinate plane, and those are called intercepts. We haven't dealt too much with y-intercepts, but we have talked about them. Mostly we deal with x-intercepts, but also remember class, y-intercept is one of the ways you can find the starting point in a projectile motion problem. So these are called intercepts. Okay, numbers or expressions that are being multiplied together when we have an equation like 2x squared plus 12x minus 3. These are numbers or expressions. Actually, let me correct myself on that. Numbers or expressions that are being multiplied together. Now that I see that, the 2 and the x squared are being multiplied together. We also would have a situation where we have 3 plus x, 2 minus x. These are two binomials that are being multiplied together, and they're actually called factors. So that's why we say the greatest common factor, this 2 is a factor of 2x squared. So these are called factors. All right, next column. You would use negative b over 2a for a standard form quadratic. When would you use, so it's asking you, when would you use negative b over 2a for a standard form quadratic? Now be careful, this looks a lot like b over 2 squared, which is for something entirely different. Negative b over 2a helps us find the vertex, or the x value of a vertex. Excuse me. But also, class, you realize that the x value of a vertex, if you look at that right there, also defines where the axis of symmetry goes through the parabola. So you use negative b over 2a to both find the x value of the vertex and then also to find the axis of symmetry. So over here we got another possible answer for axis of symmetry. Okay, the largest factor of all terms in an expression. So the largest factor of all the terms in an expression. So if we look at an expression, so we've got, here's where we've got like 2x squared plus 12x plus 10. The largest factor of all these terms is called the greatest common factor. So we'll be looking at all of our parts of our equation and looking for the greatest common factor between all three of these. So that's GCF. Okay, next one, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Hopefully you are seeing, class, that is standard form. That's a standard form quadratic. Okay, using b over 2 squared. Now that is what we use to find the number to complete the squared. So you would use b over 2 squared to complete the square. I'll just put a square there so I don't have to write out the word square. Oops, I forgot to cross off GCF. Let's do that. Oops, wrong color. Let's try it again. Okay, next one. 2 plus 5i, where 2 is the real part, 5i is the imaginary part. We're looking right at it. That is the definition of a complex number. I'll just abbreviate number. Okay, y equals x minus p times x minus q. Actually, there's a typo there, class. You should put an a in here. Y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. And that is an intercept form quadratic. Got intercept form quadratic. And I just realized I forgot to cross off factors. Let's do that. So intercept form quadratic. So I'll just put this as intercept form. Remember, intercept form doesn't have a squared exponent because it's been factored. Standard form does not have parentheses. And then the last one here, you would use negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Well, that is the quadratic formula. So this is the quadratic formula. And just remember, class, when we use this, when I give you the steps to use this, I advise you to find the discriminant first and then plug it into the rest of the formula. It just makes it a little bit easier to put in your calculator and hopefully have you make fewer mistakes. So there we go on the vocab. I hope you tried to do those by yourself first and then checked your answers with mine to make sure you understand which one goes with which definition. Alright, that's the end of this video. Let's move on with the next video.